Let's take a minute to talk about branding. Like branding in today's day and age. Today's February 11th, 2019, and you're gonna join me on my ride to work. As you know, I've been taking almost 2 years now. Actually, February 14th, Valentine's Day, will be Sales Remastered's second birthday. And so February 14th, 2017, I launched my own brand, which you now know as Sales Remastered. And the intent was to create a community for individuals who wanted to better their craft and learn more about sales, right? And so what you're going to find here at Sales Remastered, as you've already noticed, is that it's just not only content about selling prospects, but it's also content about selling ourselves. I think we have to sell ourselves to have the right mindset and influence the right motivation in order to step up our game. And the message here in this brand is to obviously, capture enough attention from the right individuals. And because I'm solely focused right now on loan officers and mortgage loan origination, it's not as vague as it will be one day. And so there's a reason behind this and there's a purpose behind this. It's because I do see kind of the overall picture, but I want to talk to loan officers and just anyone, if you're watching this channel, on how to properly brand yourself. I think that the concept of branding is misunderstood by many. And I want to use a few examples within this video that's going to show you the right idea of branding and the whole intent behind Sales Remastered. And so how loan officers or how anyone in sales can create a brand, you have basically two different options. The most common option right now is to paint up your branding page just like a business page. And sometimes we might misconstrue the message because we know it as a business page, right? We're actually told that. Facebook even calls it that. It's, hey, create your business page. And so our idea of creating a business page is to inform individuals about what you do, what your business does. Instead, I have another way to look at it and create enough value to actually attract the attention that you want. And so the idea and the goal of creating your brand is to foster attention. And with that attention, you want to be able to serve enough value, because your branding is just marketing. Your branding is an extension of your marketing efforts so that you can connect as much of that attention to the services that you bring. Does that make sense? And so if you think about the name brands today, from like Nike to Adidas to, even electronics like Apple, it all has its own unique message. And so when we look at our brand per se, which most loan officers typically will sway towards the direction of putting their NMLS license number, their company's logo, and just paint their business page or their brand page with sales pitches, maybe sales pitches on different product lines or different programs, and learn about buying a house with no down payment or down payment assistance. And I think because that's so traditional, it's often looked at as a solicitation. It's often looked at as a sales pitch. And you don't see too many loan officers use a creative way of branding. In my course, the Sales Boost Camp, I have a module just specifically on branding yourself. And I've taken a lot of the concepts behind my now few years of online marketing, and I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot on how to use social media platforms, how to kind of create these funnels that takes the attention and puts it into your ecosystem, into your world. And so, a lot of the reasons why you're watching me now is because you somehow found some content that has helped you. And that content wasn't a sales pitch. It wasn't saying, hey, I got programs online. Although I could do that, I don't necessarily do that on all my content. And there's a reason behind it, is because you can't constantly sell people or they're going to know that's all you want. Where I myself have created a brand where all I want is to deliver value. I want to be able to help the loan officer who doesn't necessarily have the right resources. And even if you do have a plethora of resources, I want to be able to give you a unique way of looking at our craft. And so I've used creative ways to manufacture a message in a way that is more unique than other sales influencers or sales training channels. And I think that the key thing to take away from my method of marketing through Sales Remastered is you can do the exact same as a loan officer. And so instead of pitching your program, or instead of talking about DPA or asking people to refer you anyone who wants to buy a house, bring value first. You know, your value is not your rate. It's not your access to quick turn times. Your value is your insight. We live in a day and age where information is valuable. And so the technology has allowed us to spread this information. And now it just matters on how creative we can get when spreading this information and spreading our message, right? And so you might be like, well, D, I'm a loan officer. I got a business page, and my business page is painted up with all this fine print disclosures, APRs, NMLS ID numbers, and all that. How can I switch it up and change it? Well, what I've noticed in actually working with a lot of the students enrolled in the Sales Boost Camp is they'll default to that method of creating a business page to where it's just one big sales pitch. And I want to ask you a question. Do you ever go through like the coupon section of the newspaper? Or do you ever actually go through, I don't know, coupon ads or watch infomercials if you're not necessarily in the market? No, right? But what you do find yourself doing is you witness some sort of tool or program being used by an explanation. Does that make sense? So in other words, a lot of consumers don't understand how to use the programs like we do because we work in this industry. So if you can get creative to where you deliver your same message in a different way. So if you want to inform the general public about DPA programs, or if you want to solicit, referral business from referral partners like realtors, accountants, insurance agents, life insurance agents, we have to understand what it is they want first, right? And how we can use our brand to generate the very thing that they want. Because if you give them what they want, they'll give you what you want. And so here's how I would do it. Number one is any message that you're currently posting to your brand page or your business page right now can have a more deeper effect if you simply translated it in a more creative and thoughtful way for the end consumer. So if your end consumer are people who want to buy homes, maybe you can curate the advertisement. And so instead of just putting up a quick post of some pretty offer of an interest rate or a program or a specific underwriting guideline that's unique to you, talk about it in a different way. Maybe post a picture of a client that you helped before and blog about it, write about it. Or better yet, create a video where you're explaining how that guideline or that particular program helped the individual that you worked with. And instead of putting up a post of an advertisement or a flyer or a marketing piece, instead put up a testimonial. So put up maybe a picture of you and your client, or a picture of you and your realtor referral partner, or a picture of maybe something that's applicable, but in a creative way where the end consumer is more engaged with the post, whether they have to read or they, and it can't look like an advertisement. It has to be a little bit more covert than that, because you have 2 to 3 seconds to capture someone's attention and hone in and keep that attention. Capture it, right? So how would you capture attention? Do you capture attention by showing them a commercial? Do you capture attention by showing them a advertisement of an interest rate or a program or a product? Do you capture their attention by asking them a favor and saying, hey, refer me to, anyone that wants to buy a house. You have to be a little bit more craftful. Whereas if you can share stories, or if you could share instances or examples, I think that in itself will be a little bit more powerful, to where people who are engaged with your post are going to be able to relate with your post. Not only that, but if you do it in the right way, you'll have people share your post. And then what happens on your business page is you create a community, not a list of people who were interested, or just basically a list of friends who support your brand and your business page, right? So if you go to your business page right now and you notice that a majority of it are just like your homies and your cousins, like, that's not necessarily a community. You got to actually have a community of people that you helped along the way. And why I think that's so valuable in terms of the alternative, or the traditional route of creating one big business page, like just solicitation, asking for referrals, painted up with logos, NMLS IDs, fine print, or what have you, is because it looks like a business. And a lot of individuals, or a lot of consumers, don't necessarily like to consume content from businesses unless it's helping them and it's applicable to them. So if you have enough empathy and you really think about what captures your attention is helpful information that helps you. It helps you improve the quality of your life. It helps you improve the understanding of certain tools that also improves the quality of your life, right? It just kind of keeps you a step ahead. And so I like to call them fun facts, because these little fun facts are insider secrets, and people like that stuff. People like, to know about information or learn about information that not everyone knows. And so you could take the same exact post about credit rebuild and actually curate it to where it comes from you. The upside is that you're positioning yourself more as a consultant and a professional rather than a salesman. And I think that if you're taking the route right now where you're just posting your NMLS ID number, your fine print disclosures, your new underwriting guideline, your promise to close in 14 days, you are being a salesman. And I think branding is more in line with marketing rather than selling. So postpone your sales pitch and your selling until you get the attention that inquires about the content that you post. Because branding is about marketing. Branding is meant to create awareness. Marketing is meant to create awareness. And the whole intent behind marketing is to capture attention. And then when you capture that attention and you get that person more engaged with your post or your brand, then you can do the solicitation for a sale. But you have to earn the right in order to sell somebody. You can't just necessarily do a straight pitch and say, hey, refer me anyone you know wants to buy a house or refinance a home. That just, does that make sense? Does that sink in? Like, you have to really bring value first, because no one's not going to know you. No one's not going to know the difference between your brand page versus another one of the 300,000 loan officers' brand pages that are available online right now. But you know how to make noise in a different way, or capture attention in a different way, is you distribute your content and your information in a different way, a way that serves value, general value. So you're not just closing the doors on other avenues of income generation. So besides just marketing to new home buyers, how can I create some content that will also be helpful for homeowners? Because homeowners do transactions too, right? Or how can I create some content that would be valuable for even people who may buy a home in the future, and thus become part of my community? And then because I position myself as an expert, they would inquire to me directly about buying a house. Now what does that become? That becomes a lead that you can now introduce to a referral partner. Does that make sense? So you can introduce them to a realtor, you can introduce them to a insurance agent, a life insurance agent, a photographer, and you have all these different avenues of referral partners, right? But you've got to get creative. It can't just be a sales pitch. It has to be content that's helpful. And if you create enough content that's helpful and you position your brand to be more of a resource, it's not going to be viewed at with a filter that just sees you as a salesman. And I promise there's too many salesmen in this world that consumers now have just kind of, they're smart. They're very smart, and they can quickly identify whether or not you're just trying to sell them or you're just trying to help them. So be more about helping, be more about serving, and earn the right to try and sell that person. But the only way you can earn that right is by serving value first and positioning yourself as the expert, as the professional, and be the one, the go-to that they look to. They go to your page for information about, the content that they need to protect themselves. And the only way you're going to be able to do that with a branding page is if you produce content that's helpful, not produce content that pitches them. I hope this video makes sense. I hope you like it. Please comment below. Let me know your thoughts about it. And if you're branding that particular way where it's just all painted up with pitches or whatnot, it's not too late. You can adjust it. You can revise it. You can create your own brand page that's more engaged with your community and create kind of this funnel to where you are basically farming leads. And you could farm these leads to increase and grow your business to attract those that you're already chasing. You're going to have a little bit more advantage if you can offer one of these realtors, accountants, insurance agents, life insurance agents, or whoever you're trying to partner up with. You can bring so much more value to them if you had access to the very things that they wanted, which are leads. And if you position yourself to have that type of database, you make noise in a different way and they view you in a different way. You're not just the loan officer that wants the referrals. You're not just the loan officer that comes by and tries to bug them for an appointment. You're actually the loan officer that has immense value in your community. And that, my friend, is how you're going to be able to get that attraction that you want. You just got to think outside the box. So don't forget to like this video. If you haven't yet, subscribe, hit the bell, and so you're notified of any content that I upload. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Now I'm up, yeah, my whole squad up. We ain't never gonna give up. Rich as fuck, I could never hear. Diamonds in my ear, say this clear. I could never feel. This gonna be my year.